Hello everyone and welcome. So in this video we'll be talking about the Python best practices. Thank you for your support and all you've been doing for my channel, and I really appreciate. So let's quickly dive into our topic for today. So we're going to be talking about Python best practices. Yeah, I went through the internet and I searched for a lot of best practices, and I can see that there are hundreds, thousands of Python best practices out there. So I actually picked just 6 of the best practices I found that I think everybody needs to know and everybody needs to follow. Even me, I'm guilty of those best practices because I don't use most of them. So I'm actually learning, so just like the way everyone is going to learn from the video. Yeah, let me quickly open my Sublime Text. So these are the 6 best practices I brought out from every blog post, articles, and everything I found online. Yeah, the first one is using formatted strings. So using formatted strings has helped me a lot right from my beginner stage up to now. So I actually use formatted string more than using the concatenation method. I found it hard understanding the concatenation while I was starting Python, and I believe other beginners too find it hard to understand concatenation. So I would really advise to use formatted strings in your code more than concatenation, just for the beginner's sake. I wouldn't say concatenation is not good to use, but I would advise to use more of the formatted string because it is more easier to understand than the concatenation method for beginners. Now, the second one is naming variables. So naming variables has always been every developer's problem, which is also my problem too. So if we check the Step 8 guidelines, we have some steps of naming variables, which I will just list out some. So we can just call something to do underscore app. So this is one of the process of naming variables. So you use underscore for larger words, and also you can use the capital letters. So to do app. So these are the 2 steps I would advise for now for beginners to use a lot. So use the underscore and the capital letter while naming your variables. Anything other than this, I don't think they are correct. But for more information, you can check the Step 8 guidelines for them. So I will list the links down the description below. But I will just advise you to use those 2 patterns I wrote out earlier on. So the third one would be adding comments to your code. So a lot of code base I've seen, most of the developers here don't use comments, so which is not that good, even though we know what they are trying to code out. So for some beginners who are just getting started, they might find it difficult to understand what is actually going on in that code base. But for advanced developers, they don't really need a lot of comments just to understand what's going on. So for beginners' sake, you need to add more of comments in your code so they can really understand, just like me. So I can really understand because I'm also a beginner. So the fourth one is make code readable. So a lot of junior developers, just like me and other beginners, actually don't really know how to order our code. So we make things hard for ourselves. For example, I can just say this: read. I'm just making an example. So read sleep. So let's just say sleep. So we actually let me copy this also. Okay, let me make it a list. A list will be better. So copy this and duplicate. See, so let me use this as an example. At times I actually use my code like this. I actually use my listings like this, but after finding out about Black and AutoPep 8, they are packages that help us, sorry, they are extensions and packages that helps us format our code. So let me quickly search about AutoPep 8 online for you. So you can see AutoPep 8 VS Code, AutoPep 8 versus Black, a lot of them out there. So let's quickly click on the AutoPep 8. Yeah, so this is AutoPep 8. So it will be in the description below, so you can check it out. So this is the package. So you actually just install it, and there's also an extension too in VS Code, so you can install the extension in VS Code. So it actually helps us to, if you read about it here, it helps us to format our code in a readable manner. You can see this. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So you can see how disorganized this code is, and you can see how organized this code is. So after using AutoPep, this is the result you are going to get, the end product you are going to get. So I would advise you to use more of AutoPep 8. So AutoPep 8 and Black actually they do the same thing, they format our code for us. So I advise you to use more of AutoPep 8 and Black while coding. Now let's quickly move on. So to help us, the next aspect, which is breaking codes into components. So this aspect is actually relating to the object-oriented aspect, which you break things and import them. For example, we have a feature which, like a blog site. So for example, now you have to create the creating post functionality, the comment post functionality, the like post functionality. So you are not to just write everything in just a file. You can actually break them into several files. Like, okay, this file would handle the add post functionality, while the other file will undo the comment functionality, while the another file should undo like the like functionality. So that's what I'm actually talking about. You import them to each other and use them. So you break them into components and use them. So I think that's the best way of writing code, if you would agree with me. So let's really move to the last one, which is using virtual environment. So if you are conversant with my video and you have been watching all my videos from start, you will notice I use virtual environment all through. So I actually use virtual environment just to keep track of the packages I'm using, the versions and the rest. So that's why we have the requirement.tsc, which lists out everything, all the packages I've installed for that specific project. So the virtual environment will actually store all the packages for our specific project. We activate them and use the virtual environment. So once we install Python 3.0, it's actually been our virtual environment. We can actually list them out in the requirement.tsc and keep track of them. So if you are using Python 3.0, you can, like next year, you know that you are using Python 3.0 for that project by checking your requirement.tsc. So that'll be the end of this tutorial. If you enjoyed this tutorial, you can subscribe to my channel, like, share to your friends which you feel would like to watch the video. Thank you and bye bye.